Okay, good morning, everybody, or good day, depending on your time zone. I made a video the other day and the audio didn't work again. And it seems like every time Windows updates itself, it just screws up OBS and everything else. And no matter what you're telling Windows 11 anymore to wait 3 weeks or whatever, it just does whatever the hell it frickin' wants, you know. Anyway, so I went a few levels and whatnot, and in the video, it's unlisted. A few people saw it because, excuse me, usually I never have these problems when the thing doesn't update. So you go all week and you can just do a video and then you upload it without thinking, right? Well, yeah, have to test everything now again. You know, like these shrubs that keep adding work to all of us, right? Anyway, so here's the equipment I have, and like I was saying in the other video, you know, I haven't even really sat down like I do normally and go through and find a lot of better stuff. But you know, and I probably could. I changed a few things along the bottom, and we'll get this maybe right now. We'll try it out. We'll do the +2 and see what happens there. It'll end up doing that we do a little less damage, but it's not like a huge thing. So the first thing you do is that. How much dynamite we got here? 60. So we'll need some of that. It'll pop down over here. You go over to this guy. Spam the heck out of that. You know what? I'm sick of it. First things first, let's go get some money. And go over here. I could have used a normal one, but anyway. And you go over to this guy. Yeah, I want to make an exchange. Give me enough money that I'm forever rich. Thank you. Take a shortcut back. So yeah, I think maybe after this game I'm gonna give that Total War Napoleon a little try. I mean I got the game, but I haven't tried it, you know. So I'll do a run through that game. Okay. So. Those, by the way, those will only really work if you don't go to the increase the difficulty first. In other words, while you're in the easy mode, you get these two things. You click it, and what it does is it unlocks all these in all the map, right? So it'll be hard to tell your progress in the game. You'd have to look at an actual map to see if you've even been there. That's one of the the reasons I don't really use that much, but it makes it easier if you actually know the exact spots where devotion points would be, say, stuff like that, right? And they did some update where they're on the normal game where they're messing with experience points or some crap. I don't know. I don't know how effective that is in this game because they make this game changes things in a different way altogether, right? Because in the regular game, the lower areas give you lower experience no matter what. In this game, they kind of scale it up a bit so that you can, while they're still easy to kill in this area, you can farm it for a little bit of XP. They're trying to cut that down, and I gotta say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Like that. I don't know why they do that, because if it doesn't affect the modding, then whatever, right? Oh. Oh, it is so dry in here. Whew. My nose. Anyway, yeah, what was I doing? I was gonna do. I'm gonna sneeze real bad and something will fly right across the room. Oh no. Okay, over to dismantle. We just start doing this. Let's move this crap out of the way. Like to put it right about there. Okay, that we don't do. That we don't do. You need 16 of these to equal one purple. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so today's chores: go renew my health card, then go make an appointment for glasses. Yep, my eyesight's starting to go. And this curved monitor that I have, right, this 2K thing, it bugs me, right? So, but it's 2K, right? And what's really bizarre, how I know it's really affecting me, is I got this 1K monitor on the other PC over here, and I look at it, I turn that on, it looks like it's bulging out at me. So it's making my eyes go cross-eyed or some shit, maybe, I don't know. I mean, who thought that fucking kind of shit was a good idea? It needs a slap in the frickin' head too, right? There's just some things, And so it comes out today too, also, that Chinese deep sync or whatever is bad on cell phones. Because you're not downloading the source code or a binary and a data set with it, because phones would not have enough space for that shit. Okay? What you're doing is you're basically downloading the web app, which is basically, while they're saying that it's not that sending bad data or something or whatever. It's just doing it unencrypted. Wow. Who does that shit, right? Well, somebody who made some open source and just didn't bother to get around to it because they're not being paid to. I mean, I used to make some web games locally that wouldn't have much security, but it didn't matter if I played it locally, right? And didn't play online. You see, like, there's stupid and there's not stupid. And I told people, don't use the web app and don't put it on your fucking cell phones. People don't listen. Well, okay. Well, it's not my problem, man. It's the same with TikTok. You're not really using something that would be, or any app, really. It's just it's a bad extension of the internet. Let me put this, oh boy. Let's get rid of that stupid shit. Let me just do this. Where are you? And if you're just joining and you wondering what I'm doing, I'm making enough of these purple things so I can get one item to test it out to see if it's better than an item I currently have, which I believe it may be in the end, but we'll see. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, 50%, eh? Huh. How about 0%? Yeah, like, yeah, okay, that can go too. Well, I got 2 of those out of it. Get up there. Yeah, there's a few. And that's enough for now. So then you go back over here, put this silly shit here, put this over here, make it all look tidy.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now. Okay, thank you. Oh, dude, upstairs.
Safe storage, no question.
Over there we go.
I'll hold on to that for you.
Oh yeah, so you go here, and, where is it? You go like that. Boom, 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 boom. +2 to all skills. And you go over here. Up the stairs.
Got something you need stashed.
What was it? Head or helm? I can't remember. here. HELM. Bonus to pets. What's the bonus to pets here? Okay, we'll come back to that. See, when you go here, though, you gotta go A-D. Whoops. You gotta spell it right first. Poison, because this thing really gives you a lot, doesn't it? 76. It's like, yeah. I'll be able to change this for sure. You just wander across here until, oh yeah, that's pretty good. But cold damage, yeah. Ether damage, no. 12% experience is nice. Now you should see my damage come down, because not only is there lightning and electrocute on the other item, but the casting speed, okay? But that's not what we're all about. So it'll come down. See? It came down 5,000. Now, watch this.
It's safe with me. Promise.
You go back down here, all the way over here. And then, oh, actually, we can do the shortcut. Back down over here. When you're down here, over here, to this guy.
What troubles you?
Now, watch this. See all this red area? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 extra points.
Safe journey.
Get away from that. So now you got 10 skill points. What's this? Okay, that's maxed out. else is left here? Okay. Now you're going, okay, you lost $5,000, but what? Back up to 66. Okay. Whatever. That's not including the pack attacking, right? Yeah, I haven't seen that little explodey thingamabob. If you've seen the unlisted one, you will. Okay, so we will, we'll give you a little taste of what that's like.
Hey, do we have any of that plutonium Nyborg left?
Alright. Go for a walk and show you. We'll do a level. Yeah, I'll even do that. Keep coming. Woohoo! It gets even more intense when you got a really big fight like this. It's like crazy shit. Are you ready, boys and girls? That's because I did a test on putting a devotion point on something and it went, oh, that's cool. I will get inside before the nemesis. I can take him, but takes too long. Now it gets real intense. you wonder why I'm going a little bit and stopping, or it looks jerky, I'm doing that on purpose. I'm using the electrocute and right clicking when I stop, which sends off these little bolts of lightning all over the place. Oh, wrong door. See how fast it takes a lot to get a level? Whee! Turned out to be a fun build. It's a walking simulator, as they call it. Yep. Another level, eh? Anybody else want some? So there's 2 levels. Okay. I'm gonna put 1 point in there and 1 point in there. And then, oof. Over here. Oh, I can summon 2 of these guys now? Alright. Got 4 points, eh? I gotta wait a minute here. This one I do too. Where are we here? It's ticking around. It's right there. And they did a change to monsters that weakened monsters that you summon that have health bars and ones that are permanent. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, kind of seems silly. There we go. Now. Just want to do a quickie test. We can go here. I want to see what happens, like if the two guys. Yeah, don't stand in the aether. So they're not buffing me proper. Okay, just wanted to see. This would be really another level. Die. Die. Just gotta look out. When you're on this level, you gotta look out with the guys that shoot you. Three levels just like that, eh? I'll take those. Let's stand here for a minute while I do it. Restores 100% of health. What's this one do again? What's this? Focus. Well. This is the one that makes you bigger. It's like turning you into the Incredible Magic Hulk. How long does it last? 10 seconds. Not very long. It's good for boss fights though. Like that's one of the things that, you kind of can use. And I had a whole rant on in that other video that I had done about last weekend's events with tariffs and why it's stupid. Just stupid. I mean, let me put it to you succinctly. If you look at history properly, okay, Canada in the 50s, before the 50s, had a really big military, okay? It had jet fighters, it had, its own tanks and made stuff. But somewhere along the lines, the United States and Canada came to an agreement that they would put everything into the United States and our resources and beef up the U.S. Okay? More population, more ways to make troops, etc. So this was the build-up of the industrial military complex. You wouldn't have been able to do it without our resources from Canada, okay? And you still, like, the whole point of what's going on here is Trump is trying to reverse what Nixon did, which was open up to China, because in Nixon's mind he could muscle China in time. The problem was Vietnam happened, which kind of derailed that. Like, what I don't understand is, you know, after the Korean War, why would you be doing business with them, whatever. But it's the greedy people in the short term, and that's what Trump is. You got to think of what greed is, okay? And if you don't understand it, then you're not going to be able to deal with Trump, and that's the problem. He's completely retarded in all other aspects, other than I want money and I'm going to bully you until I can get it and use every tool I have to get it. That's where he's a little tiny bit clever. That's it. But it's even there he's not clever, because he nor his people are looking at anything of a big picture. Okay? They hardly do any vetting. They don't do any vetting. They hardly do any research. They just, something pops into their brain and out its mouth it comes, right? you know, I made a bet with somebody one time that I wouldn't talk for a whole year, and I won the bet. Let's just put it that way. Okay? So, yeah. There are other ways to communicate, apparently. Give me a pen and a paper. Learn sign language. All that jazz. But anyway, like, and for everybody who wants to understand something, the reason why I picked on Greenland has zero to do with just picking on a little country that can't defend itself, right? It's these critical minerals. What he's trying to do is get his dibs into enough of them that he can bully any of the nations he's getting them from. What should be happening is Ukraine, Denmark, and Canada should get together and have make a critical minerals trade deal, or like a sort of trade union, okay? So that the three of us don't get muscled for this stuff, because it's super duper 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 important to the rest of the world for its technology, okay? Arms manufacturing, civilian parts, and manufacturing of goods, okay? Just aluminum alone, if we pulled it from the United States, would leave them with 50% of the aluminum available in the United States. So here's how Americans would do math. Well, then that would mean the price would go up 50%. No, because you'd still have the same number of people wanting 100%, and thus the guy with the more money goes, I'll pay for to get the same amount I had before, and then the next guy has to pay more to get what he used to have, and so on, and the price goes boop, up, up, up. So you could be looking at a doubling of aluminum prices just by that, right? So then you look at stupid things like an F-35 that needs aluminum in its wings, and other things like the U.S. missiles. I mean, Biden increased missile creation by a factor of 3 if they can do it. And some of the missiles, it, it's hard to do. So they couldn't. They only got to about 50% more. Well, you take out the aluminum and, you know, the war machine slows down. And then you take out some other critical. And these are things that the U.S. can't replace. This is the thing the Americans don't get. Once you start taking that out, then a guy like Trump will go, well, all these people are standing around doing nothing. I'm firing them. So then they're unemployed, right? And then what? Right? it gets millions of, and then that bleeds off while the local economy ain't doing so well. Maybe I should lay a few people off, and it just spirals, right? Now in Canada's end, we're going to make less sales, right? Okay, in the short term, that's going to happen. There might be some short term layoffs, so we make sure that these people have a good package for unemployment insurance. We lengthen it more until we can bring them back, and we give them a little top up from the federal government or something like that to help them out. That's how you do this shit, and that's how you mitigate the damage to the Canadian economy. We would see a probable decline in a just complete stoppage of trade with the U.S. until we balanced out our markets, etc., and got people rearranged. Probably about 5, 6, 7% of our GDP, which translates to just about $400 or $500 billion. So we would go from 2.3 to about 1.8 temporarily. Okay, right? The U.S., on the other hand, would lose tens and tens and dozens of millions of jobs. Probably 30 or 40 million people would be out of work. Okay? And the estimates go from anywhere from 5 trillion all the way up to 9 trillion GDP loss. That puts the USA lower than China. Okay? That's what Trump's doing. And all this running around gutting the government and putting people out of work. Well, then they're out of work. They're not spending any money. They're not paying any taxes. They're not increasing your GDP. You're decreasing it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just makes things worse in the end. You know. And what they're doing to NASA and other science things and all this whatever. It shakes my head. All this that you see in front of you, this video game, is technology, and it's done by science that had research done at one point, and somebody figured out how to do something neat, and it's all math, right? Okay? It's a thing. So every one of these shrubs that's against science and math, and they're anti-vax and all this other garbage, like there are starting to be health issues in parts of the U.S. and they gutted the CDC to tell you. I mean, I don't want American anything up here. It's going to carry a disease up here. I don't, I may not like the direction of the Conservative Party with its pro-Trumpism weirdo shit, but I don't want anybody to be murdered because of a disease that's brought up by Americans, in trade or anything. Which leads me to another point. The leader of the Conservative Party, okay, he replaced a lady named Candice Bergen, and she went around wearing a Make America Great hat, hanged out with the convoy people, and so did this Pierre guy. He's walking right down the street with a former Trump aide. I mean, he hangs out with known Russian propaganda people that got outed in the U.S. that were being paid by the Russian government. I mean, it's just, you can't make this shit up. So he waits and waits and waits until everybody goes anti-U.S. there for a little while there. and then decides, well, maybe I should jump on the bandwagon, right? and say this, right, and that, and everything else, and blah 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 blah. The guy's a fake. He's completely fake. All his donators are Americans. That was a funny one. There's another guy who posted a video on Blue Sky, which also is having problems. Which, you know, it's like I post a reply, and I can't see the reply. I don't know. I never muted myself. That's, you know, like, and it's only certain posts, right? Like, I don't understand what gives there, right? Like, I reply to another person, I see that reply, but I reply inside because the message box doesn't have enough, and I put more in there so that, you know, you can read the whole whatever, right? It doesn't work. And it shows that it's posted it because there's a little one there on the reply thing, but there's nothing underneath. And then about an hour or two later, I'll get somebody like it, and I'll go, what the hell? That's pretty, and the only explanation I got was the real time cache for whatever is working isn't, it's slow. Okay, well, that means they need some extra infrastructure to make it work right. I don't know, whatever. I know I post a lot, but I'm not posting that much. Anyway, so yeah, there's that, and, you know, and that's just, you know, the other point is that while Trump did this a little bit last time, right, with his stupid tariffs, right, Canada didn't sit there and go, oh well, okay, we'll just keep trading with these people. Now he's gone, right? The problem is that, you know, even when Trump goes, none of the U.S. laws have changed. In fact, they're being made worse so that another Trump can happen. I mean, if I were in the mafia, I'd be grinning my frickin' ass off right now. I'd be going, you know what? Let's get somebody to run for president, because it certainly seems to me like once you're president, you can't do nothing to them, right? So you can break all kinds of laws. I mean, why not? You know. So that's why Trump's acting the way he is. You know, it's one of those things where until the Americans get rid of presidential immunity and the law that allows, and you could alter the law for the emergency tariff thing so that it needs to include Congress. Okay, there's no emergency in the universe that I can see other than, you know, somebody doing a nuclear war, which isn't to do with trade, okay, where you can't include Congress. And I guarantee you, once that happens, you'll never see this kind of thing again, because some guy will go, my jurisdiction is going to get screwed. And then I'm going to get unelected because people are going to say, during my time, there was massive unemployment. Because the tariff, they retaliated on tariffs too, which made our goods completely unbuyable, right? And that's the rub, you know. Once you do that, it puts a little more pressure on dummy to not do it, you know. And everybody's going, wow, you know, it's Trump. Well, no, it's that law because Biden's used it for softwood lumber. And here's the kicker on that to every American out there: Canada will take you to court over it, and Canada wins every time. So why do you keep doing it? It's so that somebody with an investment in softwood lumber can make bank for a little while. That's what it is. It's greed again. And it's greed on the other side, right? But on a small scale, right? That's the rub. So, you know, it's just that. Now, Mark Carney, to give you a little hint, I had an idea, and this is like 10 years ago or so, where, or no, yeah, and I brought it forward a couple of years ago and put it on Twitter, and then one of his friends showed me a private or unlisted YouTube video of Mark with some banker investment guys that had a $26 trillion green fund, of which Canada was going to get something like 2.3 trillion of it, and they were discussing all this stuff and whatnot. Okay, like the guy has connections to help, right, with the world and everything else. I mean, my idea would clash a little bit on the fact that what most business people want to do is get a giant field, put some solar arrays in it, and sell us the power. What if we reverse that idea, put all the solar arrays on everybody's home and apartment building, okay? I'll get to the apartment building part in a bit, but all the homes in Canada, okay, making your power free. People used to say, well, batteries are a problem when it is, it snows or it rains, the clouds, right? Well, we have this new technology called solid state batteries, okay? I posted a video on Blue Sky, 8 million kilometer batteries. Now you could put a tech like that into scale it up for a home, and then once that's charged, it would last you for a while. And you could sell to the grid and sell to the businesses, which then decrease their electricity and power costs. And because these things are so good now, if this new tech works and can be scaled up, the environmental aspect is great. It really decreases what the bad part of green tech was, the batteries for when you throw them out at all the chemicals and whatever. Plus, this type of tech has less issues with heat and fires and stuff. And the whole point was, in the end, this plan would have put $45 billion into 11.5 million homeowners, okay, and about 14 to 18 billion dollars in increased tax revenues, because those people would eventually spend that money, and then you have the HST, right, and you just add that onto that, and you can extrapolate some tax money, and then you got that. Well, on top of those taxes, you've got, well, you're going to need people to build them. So you sit down and do the math about how many people it would take to build, all these solar arrays. Well, okay, you don't do it all at once. You do it in a 5% a year spread across Canada. So you're going to need people in every province to install them, and you're going to need one place to manufacture them, okay? And the reason you do it in 5% chunks is because then that lessens inflation, okay? If you did this all at once and everybody had all this money, the cost of things would go through the roof because everybody has money. No, you don't do it that way, right? And excess power you can sell into the grid to lessen everybody's electricity bill. Now, once this is fully, you would end up with something like 30,000, 40,000 people involved in a perpetual industry with an average wage that I costed back then at about $30, $25 an hour. And the government does all of this for you for nothing, okay? And at first it costs the government money, and in fact it costs the government money. It would lose money on this for about 9 years. And then after that is when those taxes overtake the other part, and then it starts to increase and increase every year, right? Because there's more and more. And because solar arrays last about 20 years, right? If you do it in 5% chunks, 5 times 20 is 100%. It just continually increases. And then if there's an increase in population and homes, you can just add them into this, right? And what you end up with, okay, is, let's say you put it on an apartment building. Well, say 30% of the cost of rent is your electricity bill. Well, hey, now we have a way we can decrease rents, but we also have a way that we can increase the profits at the same time to the landlord. If if it's say we'll just say 32% to make it an even number. So you split it down the middle. You cut rents 16%, and you give 16% to the landlord. Landlords are not going to take no to that at all, right? Imagine if rents tomorrow went down 16%. How everybody would be happy. And at the same time, the landlord got a 16% increase, right? You know, he got to keep that money because he's not paying for electricity. That's the point, right? Like that. At first there'd be people going on and on about but that and any excess electricity we get to sell to the businesses, and you can sell it at a little bit less than what normally it had been, say even 50%, so that the businesses are 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 now paying less, and it makes your businesses far more competitive. And if you look at the United States, okay, with its oil, and the current way of the system, we would be smashing the living shit out of them, and there'd be nothing they could do until they did the same thing. They'd be 20 years behind. uh, like, I mean, it's ideas like that solve problems, right? I sat down and I actually thought about everything, okay? And the other point is that also helps the taxpayers on people that are on welfare or disability, because your rent portion of the check suddenly doesn't need to be as high. So there's a 16% savings across the board to the welfare costs and the disability costs, and yet at the same time they get a 16% boost or lessening of the rents so that they can actually find places to live. This also would stimulate the fact that people would want to build homes because they can get this solar array put on it and not have that little extra bonus of 16% for the rent, right? And that's the whole point to make here, right? Now, what would a conservative do? Oh, he would go bloody greedy. He would want half of northern Ontario as a solar array and then sell us all the power, or make stupid micro nuclear plants that cost $1 billion a piece and only do 14,000 homes. That's Doug Ford for you. I mean, this is a guy who rips up the Starlink thing, right? And then as soon as Trump takes the tariffs off, says, "Oh, the deal's still on, and all the booze is back on the shelves, and don't worry about my family all putting MAGA hats on and being pro-Trump. I'm not really, honest. That guy's got to go, man. Just go out and vote. I don't care who you're voting for. Just do it." I'm on disability, so I'll be voting Liberal because Bonnie Crombie said she would double the disability. And before you go, "Oh my God, my taxes are going to go way the hell up." Well, maybe, maybe not, because most of us disabled, we're not traveling very far, so we're spending that money locally, right? We'll go to your restaurant, we'll buy something locally, and that creates more jobs. So more money that we have, more money and more jobs for other people. Just saying. And then I made some hats with the AI image generation, and people were like, "Man, where do I get one? How do I buy one?" Well, it's $45 for the base hat. Probably costs about another $10 to embroider it. So that's $55. That's just for one hat. and I'm on disability. I can only, I only have so much money to do things. For 100 hats, it's $27 for the base. Then you gotta, you'd probably be like $3 then. So you're looking at $30 for 100 hats. So I'd need $3 grand just to break even, and then there's sales tax and all of that. And there you go. See, like I can have really great ideas, but I can't do them because I don't have any money to do extra things, right? It's only because I don't drink and I don't do any drugs at all, right? That I'm able to buy the odd video game here and there and just muck around with it then, right? Or I don't do taxes for a few years and then buy a really decent PC so I can, keep into the groove, right? I go upper mid range and then I can sit back for a couple of years, do the same thing, and then, the same thing again, right? And that's how I've done things, right? Anyway, so a little rant at the end of other things, There's just so much silliness in the USA right now, and I'm like, the other thing that really irked me yesterday, and I got into an argument with someone, and I ended up blocking them. It's these people that go start their communication. Let's be clear. I stop right there and I go, why? Is there other times when you speak you're not clear? Are you telling me that that when you speak you try not to convey the actual message that you're saying in a confusing way? Are you it's a stupid way to try and sound forceful and like, it gets on my nerves because there are only certain people that do it, and only certain people that try that stuff, and it's the same group of people that helped Harris not win the election. Okay, they're one track minded issue people, and it's like I've had also issues with people with the abortion rights and stuff in the U.S. and that. And I'm like, listen, as much as I can support you in you having rights, when the American people don't have jobs or money or rent or a place to live because of these tariffs, okay, they're not going to be listening to you at all. Okay. and I didn't mean, that sounds mean, right? Like that. And the fact is, I said to one person, I says, go find me a Harris video where she talked about it. And she did. One video. And it was like, 2 seconds. That's why you lost. Because you didn't, it's so narrowed and focused on one thing only. Okay? And the ladies gotta realize that if you don't have a job, you don't have a place to live, okay? What's more important at that point? Worrying about getting laid and then pregnant and having or not having kids? What the fuck? Pardon? That's a problem with that is a problem with the USA. I mean, and then you get the people that will reply in defense of that and telling me not to police that part about whatever, and I'm like, so what you're telling me is you're okay with people in one communication trying to tell them that they're going to be clear in this topic, but not put that in the next one, and now thus I should just think that that's not clear, that it's, I mean, reading skills, literacy skills, math skills, science skills, and I used to 20 years ago when I get into arguments with Americans, I just go to this place called Pisa, where it showed the world ranking for math, science, and reading skills. And all the time, Canada was beating the U.S. And I just throw that at them after a while, just to irritate them more, you know. But the problem is knowing that that site existed. You could follow it, and the scores for Americans keep going down because they keep getting rid of it. And what's Trump and MAGA like people have figured out is the less math, the less science, and the less reading skills people have, the easier it is for you to bullshit them. That's all it is. You know, and so what you got to do is fight fire with fire. Okay? And more science, more reading, more sci-fi, more, and Hollywood's just as bad. They're anti-science. Don't tell me they're not, because look at how much I make people laugh with some of this AI image generation, and I'm not charging money for that. But these actors and musicians and everybody else is just anti against it, and you got people on Blue Sky whose drawings look like something a 5-year-old made, and are pissed off about imagery. I just shake my head at that, right? And I go, if you were into the tech, it could help you make better images. It could help you, um, you know, if I were an actor or an actress, right, I'd be trying to use some of this and get somebody good at it and putting imagery of me out there in a good way as a promotional tool. Like, you gotta stop thinking the wrong way, right? Everybody's just so stupid on things. Like, eh. Anyway, that's just a whatever. And like, you know, make sure that your union, make sure that you, if somebody has a AI and wants to use your likeness, that they have a safety feature in there so that it can't be abused. That's just some simple shit. And if somebody does find a way, then you can penalize them, and by taking the rights away from them to use your likeness, not the AI itself, but then fix the problem that made that problem happen. Okay? That's how you move forward. Okay? Right? Like, copyright and patents are a way of controlling the movement forward of innovation now. They're so long dated, okay? Back when it was 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years, it was a thing where the person that did it had a short time where they made a serious buck of money, but then they had to take that money and then they had to go and do something else. Now they can just die and let their relatives, the next generation, live off it. That's why you got screw ups in Hollywood that are on drugs and alcohol all fucked up, right? That's why that happens, because they got nothing. They don't need to do anything. That's, I mean, the system needs a whole reworking of whatever to make it work long term, because this is just not sustainable in any faction of whatever. And look what Trump's doing. He's totally wrecking things that are gonna be. Yeah. Anyway, oh, look what I found. Woohoo! Let's kill some rebels. Where are you? Be over here. Whoa, get out of the way of that. Now, the weakness of this class, just to end things, is resistances. So when I go up to the highest difficulty, I'll be at negative here, here, and here. And, you know, you'd have to fix that a little before you go up, because the areas, the first two areas, you're going to need this a lot, and some of this. And then when you go to where the cowboy like area is for Cronley, you're gonna need some of this, okay? And but that's doable. I mean, you can just like you muck around with these things. The crystallized wind, you take that off and you put something else on, because look at this, I'm 123% over, right? There we go. Anyway, okay, guys. So stay safe. Have some fun. Do a hobby. I don't care. Collect stamps, whatever. Refresh your brain. Don't let it all get to you. All right, and keep your stick on the ice. We should be saying that. Every Canadian should end a video with "Keep your stick on the ice."